Hi there, and welcome to Q&A Wednesday. It is Facebook Live, and I'm just getting my voice back, so don't freak out if you can't hear me. It's been a fun couple of days trying to speak and talk and all that great stuff. So I have a really great topic tonight. We're talking about people who are getting really frustrated and overwhelmed with their health goals. We're coming upon a time of the year when people tend to kind of go off the deep end a little bit with the holidays and the traditions and the fun stuff. Also, people start thinking about New Year's resolutions, which I'm going to approach those topics here in the near future, the next. Okay, there. I'm just having some issues with Wi-Fi. I even got a new router, so I don't exactly know what's going on. Like, I got a really strong router, so it would stop doing this. But hopefully we're good to go. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions and how to set smart goals, and even talk a little bit about gym etiquette, since I know at the first of the year we get all kinds of new influx of people at the gyms, and we want to make sure that when you're there at our gym that you are behaving yourself and not making other patrons irritated. So tonight's topic is what if I just can't do this? What if I just can't do it all? For those of you that are getting overwhelmed, we have busy lives. For some of us, we have we're multiple people. As mothers, we wear a lot of different hats. I find that some days I have to put on the therapist hat, and some days I'm the taxi driver. And other days I'm complete businesswoman as well as still being mom. So we take on a lot of roles, and I know that it's very difficult sometimes to approach our health goals and try to make that part of our lives. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. One of the things that I want you to think about. Okay. Hey, Sean. Sorry, I'm still messing with my phone, trying to make sure that we can get the feed up and going. Again, I apologize. I did really honestly buy a new router just for this situation. Maybe it's Spectrum. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to give them a phone call and tell them what I think. Quickly, let's talk about this. You know what? Life is always changing. And for those of you who are just starting on a health journey, there's a lot not only to learn, but to try and put in your lifetime or put in your schedule. I mean, think about the fact that, a new habit does not happen in 3 days. It doesn't. It doesn't even happen necessarily in 3 weeks. And definitely a lifestyle or a life of change for a healthier option does not happen in 3 weeks. It just doesn't. Years and years of habits and issues and things that we're dealing with are something that we have to consider when we're trying to make those changes. For most of you who have ever set a New Year's resolution and then realized about 3 weeks in or even a couple of months in that you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much more than I anticipated. It's so much more time. And usually it's because we're trying to do too many changes at once. We're trying to go to the gym 5 days a week, and we're trying to make all healthy food all of a sudden. For me, it took upwards of, it's been almost 7-8 years since I started this journey of making a lifestyle change into my life. And it's taken that long to get things down where I can make it look easy. Is it always easy? Not always, but I can make it look easy because I got my groove down. And that now when things change or when an obstacle comes, I don't necessarily have to stress over it. I already have all these other things in place. I have these habits in place. So let's talk about a few things here. Some of this is going to be stuff you don't want to hear. To be honest, you're going to have to give up some things. When you are trying to reach a healthy goal, you can't do that and save all these habits that you've had all these years, such as, maybe you like to go out every weekend with friends and drink. If you're really trying to make a health change, that is probably not the best option for you. You may have to change some of those things. So here's my list. Okay. I always take notes and I'm always thinking about this. One of the biggest obstacles that I get, and I totally get it, some of us have really intense jobs where, we may not have regular days off or a regular schedule that we can work with. And so it might be a struggle to find time to get your gym time in or your food prep in or any of those things. So, be okay with the fact that you might have to be a little bit flexible. And if your job is really so ridiculous that maybe, I've actually heard people say, well, I don't get breaks. I can't take breaks at my job. Okay, I call crap on that. By law, your boss is required to give you breaks. And if you were a diabetic, you would stop and eat. I even hear nurses tell me that they don't have time and that their job does not allow them time to actually stop and eat. Okay, so you're a nurse. You're supposed to be promoting health. That doctor is supposed to be promoting health. You may have to get a different job. nobody can change that for you. I understand that some jobs require more hours, but nobody else can change that for you. I had a little gal for a very brief amount of time who worked crazy hours and literally was living on 3 hours of sleep. And every time she would come in for me to train her, I would have to send her home. She wasn't getting enough even sleep to function, let alone have a workout or have a personal training session. You know, I couldn't change that for her. Her hours and her schedule is something that we actually kind of got to the situation where I said, I can't train you until you change your job. Because granted, I understand somebody has to have that job, but if it's not benefiting you and your health, you're the only one that can change that. Okay. And I do not know why it keeps cutting out, and I just truly apologize. I've really taken the steps so that this doesn't happen, and it still does. So again, you're going to have to forgive me. I know I'm losing people as I go, but so when it comes to the choices that we make, you know, we might have to give up some things. Again, I know jobs are not easy to find, but maybe you need to talk to your boss. Maybe there's some things that you need to approach for that, because again, in order to be the healthiest that you can be, you can't work 24 hours a day. It just doesn't work. You might need to turn off the TV. You might have to turn off social media. You might have to not spend an hour and a half every day on Facebook. I mean, granted, I know that I'm on here. Honestly, the only reason I get on social media is to help teach other people how to be healthy. That is it. That is the only reason. Yeah, I might post some things about my family, but that's so that you can know that I'm a real person and I have a real life, and I'm not just up here going, look at me, I can make coffee and lift during the day and I'm going to tell you how to live your life. No, I'm a real person with real obstacles. So you might have to turn off the TV. I understand that that might be your wind down or for the day. You know, you're tired, you come home, you want to wind down a little bit. But again, you might have to give up some things. Oh, we got some wives calling out some husbands. Oh, that's so funny. No, they're good people. So, you know, that's just how it goes. You know, I don't watch a whole lot of TV, and when I do, I actually record it on my DVR so that I can watch it when I actually do have time. And those are the days that I actually plan to have some downtime. I'm not watching that instead of, my choice is always my gym time, because to me that is my de-stressor. I don't feel right. I'm at a point in my life where I've been exercising long enough. And for those of you that don't know me, I did not grow up athletic at all. I wasn't good at sports. I didn't enjoy exercise. I became an athlete at 36. So age 36, guys, age 36. So, you know, these are things I've had to learn to incorporate into my life. And now I've been doing it long enough that when I don't go to the gym, I don't feel right. So for me, to give up TV is a no-brainer. To give up time messing around, I get in trouble all the time I have a social media guy that helps me plan these things out, and sometimes I get in trouble because I don't spend enough time on social media. I'm like, I just don't care. So those are some of the things that you might have to give up. You might have to learn to say no. You know, if you are on the PTA and you're running your kids to 3 different softball practices, and been there, by the way, soccer, but been there, you might have to learn in some instances to say no. I don't sign up for everything that my kids bring home. I don't run them to everything that they think that they need to do. Sometimes I schedule so somebody else picks them up, because it doesn't work for me to be everywhere all the time. And granted, my kids know that I love them, and I do spend a lot of time with them, and I do pick and choose what we accomplish, and I try to strategize to make that work. But here's the deal. If I don't put myself first, it's kind of like when you go on a plane and they do that whole little, you know, if the airbags drop down, put it on you first, because you are no good to anybody else if you are dead. If you have no energy, you don't feel good, you haven't been eating, you haven't been exercising, you're sick all the time, you're lethargic because you have no energy, what benefit are you to everybody else if you don't put yourself first? So, you know, think about that. You may have to learn to do that as well. You need to know that you will not be perfect. Okay, can you tell I'm getting annoyed? I don't know what it is about my stinking Wi-Fi, but it's just going to keep doing this, so we'll just keep going. It just might take me a whole hour to get through my broadcast. I don't know. So realize that this perfectionist is telling you that you are not going to be perfect. I don't know at what point that we decided as humans that if we can't be perfect at something, it's not worth doing. You know what? I fall down all the time. I have times where I do eat my feelings. I have times where I'm so stressed out, I want to throw my face in a bag of chocolate. I mean, that's life. That's 42 years worth of background from me and my experience wanting to deal with things. So, you know, you're not going to be perfect. It's okay. Learn to get back up and keep going. You do need to learn to love yourself, right? You do need to learn to talk better to yourself. You do need to practice some positive affirmations, because it is a struggle. And if you always wait until you feel like it and you don't have that discipline when you don't feel like it, you aren't going to get where you want to go, right? You will have to stop listening to other people, okay? You know, people mean well, but sometimes the things that they say are not supportive of what your goals are. Remember, this is your goal, not theirs, right? So people want you to do well. They just don't want you to do better than they are, because maybe they're not willing to put the time or effort into it. So of course, what you do sounds crazy, but it does to anybody who's not willing to do that. Those of us that want to create something different or do something worthy, we know that there's people that are going to try and talk us down because they think we're nuts. So you have to be okay with being like, you're fine. That's your goal. This is my goal. Right? I want to keep going. Okay. Can you tell? Can you tell when my face comes back on and I just look fully annoyed? Craziness. Okay. So at some point, I don't know if I need to get a new phone, but I'm going to figure this one out so we don't keep having this issue. So you need to stop listening to the garbage on social media and on TV. You know, we all want the quick fix. I know we do. We want to have to put no effort into it. We kind of want to cheat science, right? We want to be able to still eat our pizza and drink like a fish and not have to get off our high knees. And we still want to look like supermodels. Guys, it just doesn't freaking work that way. So get over it. Stop listening to what they're telling you these things because they want to make money somehow, right? So you got to stop. You got to stop listening to that garbage. Hi, Olivia. So that being said, here's the deal. If you're really struggling, and I know, I coach a few people who are amazing, and I know that they've got so much going on in their lives that they're really struggling to fit things in. You might not be able to do it all, but you can do something. You can do something. That might just be literally that you are really trying hard to avoid sugar. Maybe that's your goal for this week. And then maybe next week you just try to drink more water. And the same thing for those of you who have completely fallen off the wagon, right? You're falling off your goal. You really believe maybe I can't do it because, you know, I have fallen down. Okay, just because you fall down doesn't mean you no longer know how to walk. You have to get back up and keep trying again. If you can't do it all, do one thing at a time. And when you fall off that wagon, start back at basics. Don't think, okay, well, if I can't go to the gym 5 days a week, it's not worth it. How many of us can, right? Go to the gym 1 day a week. Go 2 days a week. Maybe do a workout at home. Do the best that you can to figure out your food and pay attention. Cut out processed food. You don't have to do it all from the get-go. It doesn't have to work that way. And even if you do have the time and energy for that, if you continue that way right from the get-go, you're going to burn out. And that is not our goal. Because remember, it's not how quickly you can get there. It's how long can you stay there once you get to your goal. So hopefully that helps. Mary says she has a really big goal this week and just 1 day at a time. I know, right? I told you it wasn't going to be easy, but you can totally do it, girl. I'm really proud of you. So again, it doesn't have to be this crazy, immense obstacle that you think it is. Start with one thing at a time. You know, the funniest thing that I ever heard, one of the sayings I ever heard was that you can eat an elephant one bite at a time. Well, that actually sounds disgusting. The thought actually makes sense, right? If you tackle one thing at a time, you could actually get where you want to go, even if it's an immense, overwhelming obstacle or project. So hopefully before my Wi-Fi goes out again for like the 10th time tonight, I'm going to sign off. I am going to be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Facebook Live Real Life. If you have anything that you would like to talk about, it's more of kind of like the life issues versus just health and wellness. If you have anything that you'd like to talk about, definitely leave a message below. I read all your messages, guys. So have an incredible evening. I'm going to go put some food in this poor body. It needs it. So have a good night.